AHSOKA Tano is the worst. She is such an annoying and irritating child who disrespects her leaders and... Wait, what? Maybe she's not so bad after all. I wonder where her story will go. Okay, she's my favourite. For those of you who may not be familiar with Ahsoka, she's a former Jedi Padawan who was first introduced in the animated Star Wars movie The Clone Wars. She was assigned to Anakin Skywalker as his Padawan. The two were initially insulting to one another. He believed that a Padawan would slow him down, and she was trying to prove that she was capable enough to keep up with him and even outpace him. Through this back and forth development, they eventually formed one of the most dynamic duos in the ever-growing Star Wars universe. Also, by the way, I rewatched the Clone Wars movie in preparation for this video, and for one thing, it's nowhere near as bad as people say, and for another, this was definitely the blueprint for what would later become The Mandalorian and Grogu, no doubt about it. In the TV show, Ahsoka quickly proved herself to be a skilled warrior, as well as a compassionate and empathetic leader. She fought alongside the clones in the front lines, earning the respect and admiration as a commander. But what makes Ahsoka truly special is her character development throughout the series. After being falsely accused of a crime, Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order and begins to form her own path. This decision forces her to confront her own beliefs and values, ultimately leading her to a greater understanding of herself and the galaxy around her. I remember watching the final season of Clone Wars with one of my friends when I was back in high school. My favourite Ahsoka moments actually come from those last few episodes, and they genuinely brought a tear to my eye. When she gets her own personalised clone unit, when Anakin gives her her lightsabers, when she fights off the clones without killing any, she saves Rex, and finally, when she is forced to crash the ship and bury the bodies of her fallen friends. The whole episode is brilliant, but somehow it was improved years later in a way that nobody would have expected. Something I wasn't expecting was for the scene to be enhanced by the Tales of the Jedi. Something that was nagging at me while I was watching the finale of the Clone Wars was the following question. How was Ahsoka able to defend herself effectively during Order 66 when it caught every other Jedi by surprise? The Tales of the Jedi showed the answer to this question, and it made the scene even more heartbreaking. The reason she was able to survive Order 66 was she was taught how to defend herself from the clones by the clones. What makes it even worse is when you realise that some of the clones are the same in both scenes. I realised that a lot of the emotions I felt during those scenes were from the show ending, and with it a chapter of my childhood. But I wouldn't have felt that way if I didn't first fall in love with the characters and the world that was developed through that show. We see Ahsoka again in Star Wars Rebels, where she has become a wise and powerful ally to the Rebel Alliance. She's a mentor to Ezra Bridger and a key player in the fight against the Empire. Perhaps the most iconic moment in Ahsoka's journey comes from her confrontation with Darth Vader. In this emotionally charged scene, Ahsoka faces off against her former mentor and friend, who has now turned to the dark side. This confrontation is not only a testament to Ahsoka's strength and bravery, but also to her depth of character. It highlights the complexity of her relationship with Anakin Skywalker and the pain and heartache that she feels at the loss of her friend. Ahsoka Tano is a character that has inspired countless fans, both young and old. Her strength, bravery and resilience have made her a symbol of hope and perseverance in the face of adversity. Her journey is a testament to the power of personal growth and transformation, and her impact on the Star Wars universe is undeniable. On a surface level, Ahsoka is loved because of her interactions with other characters. The way she comically quips with Sky Guy and Obi-Wan, as well as villains like Ventress and General Grievous. But it goes much deeper than surface level humour. She's loved because she has changed over time. We have been watching her every step as she has evolved from a bratty teen to a wise Jedi Knight. Ahsoka's success makes me believe that any character, no matter how hated they may be in their first appearance, can be redeemed by good writers. Take Rey for example. Many hate her character and what she represents, but I believe this is purely a fault of the writing. I don't believe Rey has faced any major moral dilemmas or challenges that have forced her character down a different path. We never really see Rey struggle in any meaningful way, and for that reason, she never grows as a character, and people lose interest. Alternatively, early on in Ahsoka's journey, she is given command of a squadron of clone pilots. And during the mission, she is too focused on proving herself, and her entire squadron is killed thanks to her selfishness and impulsivity. Or when she thinks she's winning a battle, but she can't see the larger picture, and Anakin must force her to leave the battlefield before her troops are overwhelmed from behind. Or when she needs to learn practice and responsibility from one of the slowest but wisest Jedi, when her lightsaber is stolen and she must hunt it down before it is used to hurt someone. Although these moments emphasise her naive and childish nature, this isn't annoying to the audience, because we get to see her fail. But not just that. Every time, she picks herself back up and learns from her mistakes, and that is the sign of a strong character. Modern movies are filled with strong characters, but the reason that these characters are so often hated is because they rarely ever face any true challenges. They aren't allowed to fail, they aren't allowed to reach their lowest, and without the audience seeing their lowest points, we can't enjoy the highest point, because we have nothing to contrast these triumphant moments with. Characters need to fail, characters need to pick themselves back up, and they need to work on their faults. It is for all of these reasons that I believe Ahsoka is the best Star Wars character. Simply put, because she was allowed to change and develop over time. And I think if Lucasfilm wants their next trilogy to succeed, they need to allow their characters to fail. As you're probably aware, Ahsoka has a TV show approaching, but I find myself concerned over where Disney may take this great character, after seeing what they have done previously with these character-focused series on Disney+, with both Kenobi and The Book of Boba Fett feeling like low-budget letdowns with subpar directing and poor character work. But Dave Filoni, the original creator of Ahsoka, is directing the show, so I'm hopeful that the show will be good. Let's just hope my doubts are misplaced, because if anyone deserves a great TV show, it's Ahsoka Tano.